Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode of the podcast today, for your audio listeners, you're going to have to kind of get your memory ready to listen to all these players we're about to list off and what tier they're in. But in this one, we're going to be doing kind of a tier list of ranking Call of Duty pros heading into the Vanguard season. I was about to say Cold War, but we're on from that, heading into the Vanguard season. Shout out to the Best of Three podcast. This kind of was an odd timing because we were thinking about doing something like this, and they dropped their podcast this week and did something pretty similar to this. So shout out to them. It's kind of something similar like that, but we're going to be putting our own little twist on it and changing things up, obviously. But before we get into any news and any of that, Kyle, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. We've had a really slow few weeks here. It seems like it's just no real like spice on the news front. The beta's over. We're kind of just in that holding pattern of everyone is back to playing Warzone, it seems like.
Yeah.
I don't know. So we're kind of just I mean, I guess if you really wanted to get into the weeds on Vanguard, you could start yelling about, spawns and field upgrades and stuff, but we'll just have to wait for that until the game releases. But yes, I'm doing pretty well.
All right, sweet. So for this episode, we're gonna probably do news here in a little bit, but like you said, it's been a slow few weeks. There's not a ton of news to get into, but we had just a couple quick topics that, I mean, one of them isn't even really COD related, just to touch on. So if we want to get into those, then we'll just get into the tier list and make the whole video and podcast about that.
Yeah, I mean, just a few bits of news, like you said. I guess the first one we could just touch on quickly is the we've kind of heard a lot about the formal gunless relationship, and due to Formal's retirement, there was kind of a video that came out, more or less like a tribute video, and Gunless kind of had a few interesting words to say. I mean, not in a negative light by any means, but just said that he kind of helped him through a tough time.
Yeah.
Personally, back on that LG team, I believe in World War II when they were teaming together. So yeah, just kind of interesting to hear because obviously they kind of had a up and down relationship on the Chicago Huntsman team. So just if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I just thought like it was something pretty awesome to see, and obviously this isn't super like actual Call of Duty and team and gameplay news related, but it's something that I like to talk about because, especially with a guy like Formal, he's kind of in our view of everything we see of him. Obviously, we don't see a ton of behind the scenes, but he's kind of just trolly and likes to have fun, have a good time, and doesn't seem ever like too serious. But like Gunless kind of talked about how during like that IW to World War II to Black Ops 4 time, he was just kind of going through a tough time in his life mentally and personally with some family stuff. And it was just a tough time for him. And he mentioned how Formal was kind of always there for him, even though maybe their team situation wasn't going the best. Like him and his girlfriend at the time were like always there for him, helping him out when he needed to talk and just kind of helping him through a tough time in life. So I think that's just something kind of cool because we always see kind of players go at it in the scene sometimes and seem to hate each other, have some animosity. But I think it's kind of cool to not only talk about the drama that we see, but also kind of highlight some of the cool things that go on in the scene with players supporting other players because obviously that's something important. We're kind of all in this scene together. So I don't know, just a good feel-good story to hear a couple players talking about helping each other.
Yeah, really well put. I don't know if I have anything else. I think you hit on all the good points there. Guess the one other bit of news we had was the esports engine, obviously Adam Apicel over there, and the Halo Infinite imminent release there. They're talking about, they announced the setup of the first event, and it's reportedly going to be a MLG style with an open bracket. We're kind of over here just thirsting for some kind of open bracket,
Yeah.
throwback to the CWL days. But yeah, so it's just kind of showing the stark contrast of what we could still have versus what we have now, and major kudos to the Halo scene. It looks like they're going to get off the ground pretty well there.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I mean, I've talked about it a million times. Don't need to get into it, but I come from Halo. It's like where I wouldn't be playing video games today probably if I wasn't introduced to Halo 3 at a young age and just like fell in love with that. But I'm definitely going to be tuning in because I watched some Halo esports, but I kind of, when I got into esports, it was basically straight into COD. So I didn't watch a ton of Halo, but I'm really looking forward to, now that I understand the scene a lot more, just kind of checking out Halo and seeing what it's like. I mean, there's even players that came over to COD like Frosty playing in there, and just a lot of big name players. All the Optic Halo players from back in the day when they won the World Championship are still playing. So I'm just excited to go check that out. I'm definitely jealous of their format. I wish we had the giant open bracket that leads into a pool play, that leads into kind of the mixture of the AM scene and the established pro scene. And it seems like, actually, like Halo Infinite, they have like skins in the game off launch for their pro teams. They have the established teams in like a little pro league, kind of like the CWL back in the day. They have like in-game support for all the ranked play. Like, they seem to be doing everything right for ranked play. So I'm honestly hoping it kind of takes off, because maybe it'll make COD take notice and kind of be forced to step up their game. Because I mean, I want every esport to be successful, because I think cross pollinating them and allowing them to kind of have visualization to each other is something that can really help out both scenes. So I'm hoping everything goes well for them. Adam Apicella seems like he knows what he's doing, so I'm sure he's going to run it to about as perfect as it can be. But I'm excited for that. Obviously, the reason I really want to talk about it is because I'm jealous. I miss that style format for the CDL.
Yeah, especially just one more thing, like for me getting in, right after franchising started, to be watching live events and stuff. It doesn't feel the same really going back and watching VOD as opposed to like watching it live on stream, or even if you were uh, had a chance to go to it in person, just a totally different atmosphere. But I guess with that, we can probably move into our main segment here, which will be the tier ranking. So you want to take it away there?
Yeah, so we wanted to do, like I kind of mentioned briefly in the intro, want to do like a little tier list heading into Vanguard. And obviously, like we said, shout out to the Best of Three podcast. I'm sure you guys all know who they are. They kind of did something pretty similar to this, but we have like our little twist on it. We're going to be doing an S, A, B, C, and D tier, kind of like you see on any tier list for really anything, not even just COD related. But you see the numbers next to them. We are limiting it down a little bit. We're going to be doing 6 in the S tier for the players, then 12 in A, B, and C, and then also 6 in the D tier. But so for the players that we have down here, there's 48 of them down here. Obviously, there's like the 40 between all the rosters, not including Paris and the NRG Chicago spot that could potentially be Washington. So there's like 8 players missing who aren't basically confirmed. So we're going off the 40 players that are either on the confirmed or rumored rosters to be in the league, like for sure. And then we picked out 8 players, and they're in the frontier. That's DiamondCon, Venom, Temp, Tej, Methods, Paul X, Vivid, and Aqua. We picked out them because, I mean, maybe they're not the guaranteed guys to be in those last 8 spots, but they're like established pros that we know a lot about, and they have a decent chance, I would think, at least to be in the league, especially guys like Vivid, Methods. It sounds like they're going to be there. Even Tej, I would think that those 3 might team together on the Washington spot, potentially, maybe even Temp there. But it seems like these are like the players that are pretty likely and also offer a fun debate to not just instantly throw them in the D tier. And then in a second, Kyle just mentioned like some of the honorable mentions that we had that we could have thrown on for those extra 8 spots. We just decided against it. But the other thing I wanted to mention is we're obviously taking into account a lot of what happened in the previous like couple seasons and in their careers and stuff. But we also didn't want to just be like, hey, you know what? Sib is a new player. He's instantly going to D tier. A lot of them might end up being in D tier because it's really scary to say like, hey, Nasty, I think he's going to be so good this year. I'm putting him in A. That's really hard to do over all these established players. But I think we're just gonna look at it and say like, hey, maybe we think Sib's gonna have a good year. We'll throw him in the C or the B tiers. And like, we're kind of projecting out and giving a little bit of predictions, not just completely all on their history. But with that, I'll let Kyle kind of talk about some of the people that we left off for those extra 8, and then we'll just hop right into it.
Yeah, so we kind of just talked about it for a little bit about people that um they could probably get a spot at some point maybe in the coming season, but we had to leave them off the list just to kind of trim it down. So that includes guys like John, Zap, Scraps, Fellow, Dave Patey, Slacked, Shawnee, Parasite Classic, and the LAG squad writ large. So yeah, those are just some guys that as opposed to the people that we're gonna talk about first, like Diamond Con, Temp, etc. Just more people that honorable mention.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to leave them off the list for this go round.
Yeah, and these are obviously not the guaranteed 8 players that are going to make the league. And then we also decided to leave any like amateur players that have a very good shot to get in. I mean, I guess we could have thrown a guy like Saints in here. It's kind of just occurring to me that I didn't even think of him. He could be a guy that could be in here because he definitely might make it into the league, but unfortunately, he's not on this list. But like any like more AM players that have never been in the pro league, we just decided to leave off because our knowledge base isn't as good on them. So it'd be kind of just speaking out of less than we could potentially have with guys like a Tej or a Temp or something. So we just decided to go with these. I think it'll work out pretty good. So without further ado, I think we can get right into it. We're just going to start with the 8 players that we had as the like 8 guys that aren't technically in a league spot. So you want to start out with where you think Diamond Con should be? I mean, obviously these players will probably be a little lower down the list since they're not on a team. But you want to start out with Diamond Con?
Yeah, I feel comfortable putting him in C tier.
Okay.
I I don't think he deserves to be in D, but I don't know. I felt like he stepped up big time for New York when they needed him, especially early on in the season before they got before they had Hydra in the squad, and I definitely feel like he's a pretty hot commodity like flex AR kind of player. Should probably definitely be picked up at some point if teams are struggling in that department. So that's where I would put him.
Yeah, I definitely don't have an issue with that. I wouldn't really want to go higher than C. I don't think that might be the case with a lot of these first 8 players. But another thing I wanted to mention quick is like these guys might get moved around like a lot during this because I mean we might feel like there's 16 guys that we think are in A tier when we first see them, so we might just throw them all in A, and then towards the end we'll kind of debate as things kind of boil down and we see what's going on. But I'm gonna agree with you and put Diamond Con in C. I really don't think he's like a bottom 6 player in this list. And maybe when we start to place players, we might end up moving people around, like I said. But I mean, I agree. I think his like versatility, if that makes sense, is kind of the thing that I think keeps him above that D tier. Is like he just kind of came in and did what he was told, did what he needed to do, and like the team was never like awful with him. Like he was able to fill in a role of Clayster, which is a big role to fill, and the team wasn't terrible. So I'm good with him at C. But then we got Venom, an interesting one. I think it's another CD range because kind of unfairly to him, we didn't get to see a lot of him because he came in and he was taken out pretty quick and kind of swapped back and forth on that mess of an LA Thieves team swapping everybody around. Uh, I this one I'm pretty flexible. I don't really have a definitive like way I feel about it. I kind of think I want to start him in D. Is that crazy, or do you think he should be up in C? I'm not too firm on this one.
Let's start him in D, but I kind of think that as SMG player, that almost gives him a little bit more leverage, I guess, because
Yeah, he definitely wasn't
SMGs are
bad when he
so
played.
yeah. So let's just see where we wind up, and we'll keep the list churning here.
Yeah, I also think if we're talking like potential, I think he's a player that has a lot of potential to be a very good player if he gets the right situation. But moving on to another guy that was in that LA Thieves, we got a couple here coming up that were in that LA Thieves kind of turntable roster. It's Temp. This one I'm pretty firm that I don't think he's a D tier player. I think there's a possible world where you put him in B. I mean, there's been times previously in his career, like in Black Ops 4, when he was an S tier player. Obviously not the case now, but I think I'd like to start Temp in C, to be honest with you, because I really don't think he's D. I think there's a world where you could, if you're really high on him and you're really looking at the future potential, I think you could throw him in B. But I kind of want to start him and see if you're good with that. I just think he has such a high ceiling that it's hard to say that he's a bottom 6 player out of 48.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with putting him in C. I could see a world where he gets picked up at some point, or he signs to one of these unknown rosters.
Yeah, that Washington roster of Methods is on it and like Tej is on it. With the way they seem to be like Methods and Tej are like best friends and Tej and Temp are close. That just seems like those 3 might all end up on that Washington roster, maybe with Vivid or something. I just have a weird prediction about that. I haven't heard any rumors or anything, but I think that might be the way it goes. You got any thoughts on Tej though, where we want to start him out?
I'd like to put him in C tier, just again leveraging his SMG, role. I think we definitely saw him, you know, wasn't it in stage like 1 or 2 where he was like dropping insane numbers in Cold War, and then he kind of fell out with the team a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're saying, I could see him, you know, being a starter in this league from the get go on one of these, you know, quote unquote new teams. So I feel comfortable with a C tier.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's another one of those guys that I feel like he is one thing that could potentially drop him down to a lower tier is he is a guy that has major consistency issues. Like he can really, really, really struggle at times, which is the case with a lot of these players we're talking about in these first 8. There's a reason that they're like the fringe league players for most of them. There's some special circumstances, I feel like, but for most of them, there's just a lot of consistency issues, which is the reason that you find yourself being a fringe player in anything. Um, but moving on to methods, obviously, he's my guy. Another guy that I think kind of just drew a short straw this year. I mean, it kind of seemed like the writing was on the wall when Insight was signed as Kleenex's like old duo and the whole European squad. It seemed like the writing was on the wall. And he never really got a fair shake this year. I definitely don't think Methods is a D tier player. I don't know that he's C tier. I think there's a chance he's B, but it's tough because we haven't seen him play since like the beginning of Cold War. And then he didn't take challengers as seriously because he kind of went more of the content route and like building his stream up. I'm kind of in the BC range. Do you have any thoughts on methods here between B and C?
Yeah, I mean, if we're saying he's B, that means he would be a top 30 player in on this
Yeah,
list. Um, you want to leave him in B and see where we go?
I feel like he has a chance to. I definitely agree. There's a very very strong chance he ends up in C, but I say
He
let's
can
leave him in
definitely,
B. And if we start to just pile players in there, he'll be one of the first guys we'd move down. I think.
yeah, he can definitely be like a low B tier player. I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of
I mean,
sounds like we're slandering people, but
yeah.
yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
somebody's got to go in these C and D tier. These are obviously all elite players,
right,
but somebody's got to go down there if we're making a list like this.
right.
I don't know if did you want to do it that way too, where we kind of like if we think a guy's like a low B, put him towards the back of like our B tier.
Oh, we might be
Um,
able to clean it up at some point, but
yeah,
uh,
towards the end or something.
mhm.
All right. Then we've got another guy that's an interesting kind of we haven't seen him play with a good pro team yet, really. We don't know if he's going to make a roster, but seems to have when he came in, people were talking about if this team was good, rookie of the year potential kind of guy before the whole Insight and Standy obviously showing Paul X. Um, like with all these players, it's anywhere in that B to D range. Really, it's hard to put any of these guys above B, considering like obviously they're fringe roster guys, but I don't know. I think I might be another like Paul X like low B to high C. I don't know. That's kind of where I am. I think he's kind of teetering on that because I think he has a lot of potential, which is where I think like the potential B comes from.
Yeah, I'd feel more comfortable with him in C tier right now.
I agree. I just think he
But
is like that potential wise makes him teeter a little more, but
right, for sure.
I don't know. I think on the right team, he could find a way to be like maybe not an elite player, but like a good solid B player. But I just don't know that he gets the right team all that quick unless they have the perfect mesh or something. But Nex is probably the best player in this first 8 because he probably only is missing a confirmed rumored roster just because of his contract situation, and that's Vivid. You want to go first on him, or you want me to go?
I'd like to put him solidly in the middle of B tier.
I think I
Um,
agree with that one. I think he's. I'm not willing to really put him A or like up there, but I think he's. I mean, he showed a lot and he improved the Empire last year.
yeah, I mean, I don't think he's a top 18 player, especially with like, we're about to get into like the high leverage players here, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and the situation with Dallas where he's, he probably has a massive buyout, so which is why, teams are kind of reluctant to pay that when they can just shop around for, AMs or whatever, but I would definitely think that he would, if teams are struggling, he would probably be the first SMG off the board. If a team is serious about improving in the early season. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think his like game mode specific is almost what raises him and lowers him tiers. Like I think his search and destroy is potentially S tier. Like just specifically search and destroy gameplay might be an S tier player. He might be a top 6 search player, but I think he has super inconsistencies in respawn that make him more of a B or C tier respawn player. I mean, he can be an A S tier type respawn player at times, but consistency is the big thing for him, which I think lowers him. If he can put it all together, there's a chance. I think Vivid's one of those players that there's a chance that like middle of the season, you look at, if we have the same format, you look around like stage 3 and he's on a solid team that's like performing well, I think there's a chance you say he's a lower A tier player. But I think going into the season right now, we keep him in B and see how we feel as we fill it out. All right. Last player of that kind of initial 8 that we talked about is Aqua. I mean, I don't necessarily know that he finds a spot in the league because obviously main AR spots are so tough. And if we believe Methods is, that leaves one AR spot left, and guys like Paul X and Diamond are also battling for like a main AR spot potentially. So I don't know if Aqua makes it, but you guys know I kind of feel for the guy. I feel like he's gotten just 2 terrible teams. He got that LAG squad that was bad in year 1 in Modern Warfare, and now he gets the Paris squad that wasn't great either. I feel like he just hasn't had a consistently like good squad to play with in a long time. Honestly, since BO4, he got a 2nd place and had a lot of top finishes with Splice and Temp and those boys. But like, I don't know. I just feel like he hasn't had a consistent squad. I'm like pretty strongly that I feel that Aqua is in the C tier. I'll throw him up there for now, and then I want to hear your thoughts on him.
So I was thinking, we're kind of projecting how these guys are going into Vanguard. So I was gonna lean D, just
Okay.
because I don't think he's gonna get on a good
I don't
team, and
either.
thus that's gonna lead to him having another bad year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but we can do some shuffling uh later. I feel like I'm sorry, but I feel like he's gonna eventually just get bumped down, or somebody's gonna get bumped down to
I
D
can throw him in D
eventually.
for now. I just feel
Um,
like, I don't know, like if we're considering Paul and Diamond main ARs, like if they're kind of flex type main AR players, if we're considering them main ARs, personally, if I was building a team, I'd take Aqua over both of them as a main AR. I don't know. I just think Aqua's the better player, but I also think like he was far and away Paris's best player for like the first 3 stages, and like was like the only reason they were competitive in games because he was frying. And I don't know. I think he brings lots to the team. I'm willing to put him in D, but then as we start to get the newer players and guys that are down there, I want to maybe see if shuffling him makes sense. But I'm going to put him in D for now and kind of debate it out more as we like fill it out.
all right.
I do think he's definitely teetering on C though. All right. Another guy who might be teetering down in this area to start it out with the actual players. Now we're into the 40 players that are either on confirmed or rumored rosters. Maybe another guy that's teetering on that B and C and D range is Accuracy. He's kind of a weird one too because we didn't see him play the last few stages. His team really struggled. He obviously maybe had the most iconic moment of the Cold War season with the lineup 3-piece on Optic that you've all seen a million times. You got any thoughts on where you want to place him?
I feel like if we're putting Zinni in B tier, I feel like Accuracy's got to be in B tier.
Think so?
Um, I would say he's a top 30 player.
All right.
I'm willing to buy a little bit into the hype uh of, him kind of implementing his system, so to speak, in Seattle. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, the only place I would put him is maybe down into C tier eventually, but um,
Yeah. I think he
I
might find his way into C tier, is the
I
way I
feel like
think it might go.
I mean, I feel like a lot of ARs have got to just like I don't know. I'm more high on SMGs, but
Yeah. I don't know. I'm willing to put him in B for now. I think he might be. I agree with the logic. Like if we're willing to put a guy like Zinni, who also didn't play a lot, it's logical to put like Accuracy kind of lumped in there with him because they're kind of in the same position. I don't know. I think if I don't want to do too much of like putting all the weight in projecting how they're going to do, but I think he might also be a guy that like if Seattle struggles early, the 3 young guys might say screw this, we want another young challengers player, and he might kind of get screwed and just lose his roster spot pretty quick because that seems to be how it goes. We see it with Methods this year in Toronto. A couple young guys want their like other like young teammate in there that's kind of like just raw talent, and they just throw him in there with insight. Obviously, it worked out for them, but think he might draw a short straw, which might make his year look worse than it maybe is. But I'm willing to put him in B, and then we can kind of like hash it out a little bit. But I think he's one of those guys teetering. All right. We've got an interesting one here. Asim. I think he's a pretty heavily debated player because, I mean, you look at before Cold War, he was definitely at best a B tier player in any game he played. But then coming into this year, he starts the year red hot. He wasn't even supposed to be a starter on New York, but with the visa issues with Hydra not being able to get over to the United States early enough, he gets in the starting lineup and he steps up to say the least. He was awesome to start the year. It kind of teeters off a little bit towards the end of the year, but I feel like I'm willing to put Asim as a strong B, maybe like week A. I don't know. Are
Uh,
you any differing on
I'm
that?
I'm I'm kind of an Asim stan,
Okay.
admittedly. I want him. I think he can be an S tier SMG
Yeah.
at his ceiling. I realistically think he's probably like a high B tier, so I'm comfortable leaving him there. Um,
He's a
but
guy though that if we start to not have
I
enough A's, he could be a
I
guy that could
I
get slid
would
up in the low A.
I would advocate for him to be an A.
I
If
wouldn't
it,
like
if it comes
be
down to
completely
it.
against it. I mean, if we start to have a lack of guys that we feel confident putting in A, I wouldn't mind throwing him there. Um, I don't know. We might start to differ on this next one though, because the next guy I want to put in A. A for attach, first guy in there. That's where I want to put attach. I can
Yep.
see an argument for B, but
No, I want him an A.
I like attach in A because I mean, like there's more to COD. We both know this. We talk about all the time. There's more to COD than just the gun skill and gameplay. And Attach has that. He's got a lot of gun skill. He's a very good player mechanically. But I mean, there's not much argument to say this guy is not the clutchest player we've ever seen, the most clutch player in COD history. And I mean, the dude makes plays. I think he's an A tier player. Maybe towards the lower end of A tier, I would say. But I definitely think he's up there when you include gameplay and intangibles.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say. I'm totally in agreement.
Speaking of intangibles, Bance, kind of what he really brings to the table. Where I think we're gonna agree on this one, but where do you want to put Bance?
Are you an A for attach, B for Bance? Because I think Bance is an A tier. Um,
I
I
can
think
see where you're coming from.
he might get flexed down to B tier. I definitely think that's realistic.
Like
Um,
for me, when I'm looking at it, I think he is clearly ahead of everybody in the B tier except for maybe Asim, which makes me start to agree with you. But there's obviously not a lot of players in the list that are like high tier because we did those first eight. I'm willing to go as like a weak A, but I think he's like one of the guys that could get moved if we start to load it up. I'm willing to start him as a weak A though because
yeah,
I'm all for the intangibles. I think sometimes gun skill gets looked at a little too much. Like obviously it really matters a lot, but I think like the intangibles, like I think without him on that ultra team, they're not nearly as good if they replace him with just a cracked out SMG.
hmm
So I mean, I'm willing to go A if that's what you want.
yeah. We'll see how it shakes out. In the next like 15, 20 picks, I think we'll start to fill out more, obviously. But
Because this one's easy. This next one.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, I mean D
S.
tier.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
shoot, yeah, okay.
Oh yeah,
S tier.
yeah.
All right.
S for Simp.
Yeah, what the heck is happening here? We got A for attach. We were going B for Bance, S for Simp. Are we going C for Crim? I
I
don't
don't
think so.
know.
um, Crim is an interesting one though because, like, I mean, obviously he's got the potential to be right up there with Simp in the S tier, but I don't think he's there right now. I feel like Crim is kind of a strong B. Is that crazy?
I was thinking with like just like I kind of harken back to this like Krim likes to play fast and he likes to have high engagements and like he's gonna lay down a ton of damage on the map.
Mm-hmm. He
Um,
won't be a main this year too.
I know he's kind of back in that like I think his more natural role is like a flex,
I agree.
or like a fast AR. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if we're necessarily saying he's a true flex. I don't even know what that means anymore.
Yeah.
But I would say like the very top of the B tier or
Yeah.
bottom of the A tier. Um,
I think I want
just because it's kind of undeniable. Like he's the goat. Um,
yeah. I just see a lot of players coming up that I think are definitely uh, ahead of Crim right now. So I think I want to stick him in B for now. But like I said, we can shuffle around. But I feel the same way. A low A, strong B is kind of where he's at. He's another teetering player from A to B for me.
Mm-hmm.
The next guy though is his teammate or alleged teammate going into this year, Clayster. Obviously going to take over the main AR. At points last year, you could make an argument early on in the year that Clay was potentially the best main AR in the CDL or right up there in that top few when New York was really kind of at their peak, making it to that final. Do you have a place where you want to put Clay? I'm kind of thinking the way the list is shaping out, I think he might be an A tier.
Yeah, it's tough to put too many ARs in 18. Like if you can find the SNA.
Yeah.
Um,
Although I do
I
think that methods and accuracy might find a way to be dropped down.
yeah, I'm fine with A tier. Um, I think it's kind of hard to deny his 3 rings as well. And just what having another veteran presence of
Mm-hmm.
allegedly Krim will do for him. So I'm comfortable, I guess, with A. I would probably say maybe trailing off towards like the 17, 18 range of like
Yeah.
if we're just going numerically, but yeah.
My thing is with, I mean, who knows? Like I said, this could switch around, but my thing is if we're putting Bance in A tier, I feel like Clay is as mechanically skilled, if not more skilled than Bance. And I think they are arguably the two best IGLs, like based on last year. Like they're two of the best in game leaders. So I feel like they're pretty much even mechanical wise. I feel like they're pretty much the same player. I feel like they're kind of a tandem for where they go. Just one's a sub and one's an AR, so depending on impact, obviously. But I think they're kind of almost a tandem. I feel like they're very similar in their stock, in my head at least. I feel like they kind of are a tandem duo. If one gets dropped to B, I almost feel like they both do, but I don't know. Does that make sense, or am I just crazy?
Yeah, no, totally. It does. I I think it's gonna be you know really good for them to be back together.
All right, another Ultra player. Where do you have Kleenex? I mean, because this is one I feel like some people might debate is S. I'm not one of those people. I think he's an A tier, especially because like I mean, a lot of people will do 8 to 10 players for their S, but just to make it fun and add a little more debate, we're doing only 6. So like, there's going to be some S tier caliber players that are in the A tier just simply because we decided to cut it down to 6 and make it a little more of a debate. Uh, do you think Kleenex is an S tier, or are you willing to go A with me?
Uh, I I love him as an A tier player. I don't know if he's a top 6 player.
Yeah, but I think
He
he's
has he
definitely
has a,
a strong A.
he has a little too many peaks and valleys still for me.
Hmm.
If he could develop like the true consistency map to map, series to series that like an Abezy or a Shotzi or somebody has,
Hmm.
I think he could find himself in S tier. Uh, you know, maybe even by the end of this title, of this
Yeah,
upcoming title with the Vanguard. But
I think
I
he's
I
pretty
I
solidly an
think,
A though.
oh
Like no
yeah,
potential to
yeah,
move down.
oh yeah, no, he's not moving down.
All right, next player is another interesting one because it's another guy with S tier potential if he shows up on time. But Dashy, uh, like I said, we know he has S tier potential. I think I might have a little bit of a hotter take on Dashy, so I kind of want you to go first. Are we going D for Dashy if we're going to continue that trend, or
Oh
what's going on
Lord.
here?
No, I think he's gonna be given the main AR role. Do I want to project that too much? I'm comfortable putting him in A tier.
Are you?
There To me, I'm not convinced he's an S tier or a B tier. It's just how much do I want to project how well he's gonna play the main AR role? How much do I want to envision like if he's gonna be coachable, if he's gonna be
Hmm.
responsible? I don't know. That's just too many factors to really
Yeah.
let that pervade into my thoughts. So I'm just gonna say he's probably at the middle to lower tier of A right now. But obviously we've seen his gun skill is like almost second to none. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I don't know. What were you thinking for Dashy?
My initial reaction when I saw him was B. Uh, I think he has S potential. He certainly has the ability to be an A tier player, but I mean, raw talent wise, like when I look at the only main AR right now in the A or above is Clay. And raw talent wise, I think Dashy can shoot straighter and he has more ability to have a higher ceiling. But like, I know what I'm getting from Clay. Like, I know he's going to be a very good player. He's going to have great communication. He's going to be a great leader. I'm going to be consistently towards the top of the league with him. Like with Dashy, I feel like the ceiling is higher, but I don't know that I'm going to get that like guaranteed performance like I am out of Clay. I mean, we saw last year Dashy was lost for a little bit when the XM4 got GA'd. Like he was lost on the map. He didn't know what he was doing. Um, I definitely feel like he has the potential to find himself in S tier middle of the year. I'm willing to go A right now, but he's one of those players on my radar to drop down to B if we
Yeah.
come down to it.
Yeah, well, I
Uh,
mean,
I don't
he
know.
was he was lost because they weren't watching any VOD.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like I know you're kind of trolling with it, but it actually does matter. Like if he's not showing up to practice on time and not willing to put in the work, like that's an intangible that definitely plays a factor. Like, I mean, you watch like the videos of like the process and them reacting, and like the guy clearly cares. I mean, like he's not just like collecting a free paycheck because he's talented at something. Like he definitely cares. Like I'm not saying like he's just collecting a paycheck and just playing COD because he's good at it. Like you can see there's passion there, but like I want to see like there's a difference between like obviously caring about like the wins and losses in your games, but like you've also got to show that level of care and showing up to like work on your craft, just like in any sport, any job, anything really. Like you can say how bad you want the promotion or want to do well in your sport or whatever, but if you're not putting in the extra work, like do you really want it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, so I'm willing to go A now because I definitely think he could be easily an A tier player. But as we start to fill it out, he's one of those guys that's on my radar to maybe drop when we get to that debate. Next guy, I think we're kind of staying in the same range as Dashy and those guys is Draza. Do you have an opinion? Obviously, if you listen to Best of Three, they really got into it on Draza when they
Yeah.
were ranking him. Um,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have as passionate of a take on Draza. I definitely do think he's that A and B. Like, there's a
I
debate between the two.
I really like Draza. I think
So do I.
I want you to put him right after Crim 6, right in between Crim and Asim.
You think so? Think
Um
B tier?
I think B tier right now. I'm just not sure. Like I keep thinking of like, okay, are there 18 better players than Draza? Um,
I feel like he's right around that range, you know?
yeah. Like we said, like maybe Krim could move up, maybe Draza can move up, maybe Dashy moves down. I don't know. I'd like to keep him right in that range, like
Yeah,
you
and if
said,
we
like that AB range.
if we get down to the end and we're just looking at Dashy and or we're looking at like Bance and Draws and it just looks wrong, like we can always just swap two players and stuff too. I do feel like he's right on that border though, and it's that battle of how well do you project somebody out and how much do you go off what we've seen. Like I really do think Draws is another guy that has a lot of like upward mobility potential. I think he's one of the players we could see rise the most. Finally, hopefully for his sake and for LA Thieves, like having a consistent roster for a whole year, with easily the best players he's ever played with around him. Like I do think he has a lot of potential to move up, but I'm okay with him in B for now and see how it plays out. Oh boy, another kind of hot take guy I have. This is another guy I think is in that. I mean, I think a lot of people think he's solidly in A. I think he's more teetering than a lot of people think. Uh, I have Envoy kind of bottom A. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking he's bottom A. We definitely heard on the flank a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago at this point. But he definitely wants to be a grinder and he wants to play on a team that like gets better, learns from their mistakes. He obviously didn't have that with the iteration of Optic last year. So I'm confident that you know he's gonna make a lot of upward mobility in his gameplay this year. So I'm happy putting him in A tier.
Yeah, I agree
Um,
with that. I don't think there's much potential that he drops down to B. I just feel like he's a player that fits on less teams almost in a way. Like he's obviously got the talent to fit on any team, but I feel like his play style needs a specific like system around him. Uh And I feel like LA Thieves JCap is a very, very smart Call of Duty player. He can help figure that out. And with super talented, and also like Draza and Kenny are very flexible players that can do a lot of different things in the map. Like I feel like they can fit a system around him, but like he feels like a very specialized player. Like if he has a team around him that doesn't really fit him well, like it's not going to go well. Like I don't think the Chicago team was necessarily the best fit for him. But talent wise, I agree he can be an A tier player. I feel pretty strongly about this next player, though. I think he is the most, almost the definition of this tier. I think Gunless just goes straight towards the top of B tier.
Yeah, I'm happy putting
Somewhere
him
out there.
You know, a quote unquote true flex.
100% true flex.
Somebody's gonna have to write me a letter to tell me what a true flex even means anymore. But yeah, I'm happy putting him in B tier. I think I'm really excited about that lag roster.
Yeah.
Coming, you know, the new faces, everyone with a chip on their shoulder.
I mean,
I think they're all hungry. I really think he could be, he could borderline, almost be the, if they're hitting their stride, he could, be in discussion for S tier. I'm almost thinking I mean, if he really starts playing as like the gunless that we saw back in the day,
I'm
it's
really
kind
happy
of,
you said that.
yeah.
Because I was gonna say like this dude, like for some of you guys that are a little bit newer and have only seen like the last couple of years, like even into the end of BO4, he was kind of struggling with bad team situation. Like you'd be like, what the heck? How's this guy even like B? He might be C like with the last couple of years. But I mean, this guy has undeniably, like if you don't think he has S tier talent, like ceiling, that's like he is undeniably has S tier talent. Like he can get up there into that S tier. It's just a matter of finally fitting the right team around him. And I think this might be the one. Obviously, it's too early to say this is the one, but I think you're right. I think this could be the team that does it. And if we get, like you said, who knows what it even means anymore, but if we get a true flex type of game, like he is the definition, him and like a guy like Cellium, even maybe Cammy, they're like, and those are all the top flexes. Those are the guys that are like a definition of a true flex that can really do it all with both. And I mean, the dude has unreal talent. I've always been really high on Gunless, and I feel like his personality is coming around to be able to gel more with. I think a couple of years of struggling really showed him how to gel with teammates when things aren't going well. And I think like obviously like a couple of years of losing, I mean, no player wants to go through that, but I think in some ways it maybe benefit him a little bit and made his intangibles as a player a little better. Just kind of like learning how to go with losing and not just like destroying chemistry while doing that. That makes sense. But I definitely think he's solidly in B, and like I wouldn't be like super against like an A tier. I don't think we need to put him in A tier here, but like I wouldn't think you're like crazy if you said he was an A tier player right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next guy. I had to kind of remember who these random pictures were because he didn't have an official picture, but this one is Yeez. Obviously not like confirmed to be a starter, but like it was between him and Dave Patey. We didn't really know who's a starter, but roles wise, if Skies and Awakening are still on the Florida team, I would assume that Yeez is the other guy because he is an SMG and Dave Patey is a main AR, so I don't think he would be starting. So we went with Yeez in here. To me, this seems a little bit of a cop out, but I think we throw him in D because I don't know much about him. Obviously, potential wise, he could be projecting towards more of a C or B tier, but like I just don't feel comfortable putting him ahead of like my Tej and my Temp in the C tier or with them, and I feel like Venom is going to be as good. Like I don't know, it's hard to project him out because I don't know anything about him. So for me, he's D right now, and I don't know. It's more of a he could be an A tier sub. Who knows going into this year? He might be like the best challengers player. I just don't know enough about him to wanna like project him out and have confidence in him.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me the Conor McGregor. Like who the fook is
Yeah.
this guy? I'm more than happy to have him in the D tier right now.
And who
I
knows?
hope
He might be an A tier sub.
I hope Florida is better than they were last year. That's all I'll say.
I think they might be the 12th best team this year, depending on that Paris and Chicago roster. If the rumored roster is true, I think they might be way down there. But yeah, Yeez, that's not a knock on him either. We just don't know a ton about him. I mean, this dude, with the way people talk about him, his talent, he might be a B and A tier player. But speaking of that A tier, maybe up, we've got a couple guys that are going to be up there in that A for sure. With the next two, with Arcitys. Now, this is where I kind of mentioned that whole debate of, there's going to be some guys that are S tier caliber players that could potentially be an A. And I feel like Arcitys is one of those guys. When you cut the S tier down to 6, I feel like he's a guy that kind of is in that like 6 range, like in that area, for me at least. So I feel like he now, when we cut it down to 6, is kind of teetering. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, this is so tough.
I mean, clearly an S tier
I
player, but it's like when you cut it to 6, is he a top 6? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking through who we still have to rank, and I'm trying to count in my head. Okay,
Mhm.
S, 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 S.
I mean, to me,
Um,
there's 3 guys I 100% think have to be. 4, actually. I think there's 4 more guys on our list that have to be an S tier. Like,
mhm.
it's no debate for me. So, like, I don't know if you think Arcitys is that last one. I don't necessarily know that
Let's
I think he is, but
let's put him at the very tippy top of A,
yeah,
just because
I'm willing to put him number 1 in A.
he's oh yeah, for sure. He's so damn good.
Yeah.
It's just maybe the main AR role gets a little bit of a maybe like a 10% decrease in his value. I don't know. I
Hmm.
mean, you're kind of splitting hairs here.
S tier player that's forced by the number limit to go to
Oh,
A,
for
pretty
for
much.
sure, for sure. All right, speaking of S tier players.
I feel strongly that this man is an S tier player.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we really talked about Simp. I don't know if we really have to talk about Cammy
Yeah, I
too
was
much.
hoping that you didn't, because I feel like some people kind of think he's more around that 6-7 range teetering, but to me, he is so. I think this guy is if he stays on if Ultra can stay on like a good path, I think this guy is a potential league MVP. Like I feel very like he's one of my favorite players. I tweeted about it at Champs. Like I love Cammy as a player. Like I think he's very clearly S tier.
Hmm.
You want to go to the opposite end of the spectrum though, right here, Havoc and D tier.
Yeah, another intangibles guy. I don't know if we really need to debate about if he's C or D. I don't know if he's necessarily a bottom 6 player. Um,
Yeah, I don't know if
he
he is either.
he
He's
he
a good
he's
player.
to me he's towards the middle to the end of C tier. Um,
I just like once again though, like looking at the players we have coming up, I don't know how many people I can put below him. Like, there's just not a lot of players that are
mhm.
left that I
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
I don't
you're
think I can
right.
put below him.
Yeah, let's leave it as is, and we'll see.
I
Um,
mean, I just always come back to dude hasn't won a champs match since BO3. That's
all
almost where
right.
I leave it at.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Let's. Oh man, this
This
one's this could be anywhere.
this is an interesting one, like because of last season. Obviously, y'all know what happened
Yeah,
with Hook, but like S tier
yeah,
talent again. But like you could find a way to throw him in C because we don't know if he's going to be able to actually stay playing. Like he has like are rumored to be the biggest buyout in COD history to go to LA Thieves. Plays like a game, spells his name wrong, can't play because of
yeah.
that. Like I don't know. I don't know where
Okay.
his head's at.
All right. Here we go. I want him in B tier. I think
Mm.
we
All right.
have we have 7 guys right there now. I think he can be in B tier. I don't know um necessarily where in the spectrum he falls. But I think his talent is borderline undeniable.
Okay.
Um, and I kind of believe in the redemption arc with the whole like LAG chip on the shoulder, what they're gonna all be about this year. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if where your thoughts are with Hook, but
I was just kind of rearranging how I kind of like roughly think we're going like in within the tiers, but yeah, I'm definitely I put Hook at the top because I think if we're putting him in B, I think he's a top of B player because talent wise, like he's 100%. Like if we're talking just purely in game talent, he's 100% A tier at least. Uh, I think still like currently I'm willing to put him A tier, but like there are so many question marks that are all like negative question marks that like make me want to put him down to B because like we heard his side of the story and what happened. We never really got to hear Crim's too much besides the little Crim late night drunk stream. Uh, but I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm willing to go top B if you are. I guess. I think I agree. He's a potential.
Mhm.
Like, if we get down to the end, though, he could be a mover. All right, next guy up. Another guy we don't know a whole lot about. Gizmo. Going to be playing, I believe, main AR. I think Zero will probably flex on the London Royal Ravens, but Gizmo, a player I don't think you know a ton about. I don't know a ton about. I just know that I hear a lot of people say the dude is nasty and has very good placements to back that up in the challenger scene the last couple years. But you got any thoughts on Gizmo? I feel like it's for me. These are all guys. Your Gizmo, your Yeez, your Pred, your Sib, even nasty guys like that. These are all guys that I feel like could end up being in the A tier next year. Like if they come out and be as good as we've heard they are. But like, it's really hard for me to be like, yeah, you know what, Gizmo, you're gonna be better than like Hook and throw him in
I
B
think we
tier or
got. I
something.
think we
That's
should
really tough.
say C.
Okay. I'm willing to go with that. And these are the guys that could end up getting moved just by default and us not wanting to make a bold choice or something. He could get moved down to D, but like personally, I feel like he's gonna have a really good year based on the things I've heard about him. But like, I don't know enough to be like, yeah, this dude's B tier. So I'm good with putting him in C for now.
Mm-hmm.
Another interesting one. I think a guy that is definitely in the discussion for S tier, but I'm feeling pretty strongly that he's A tier if we're going 6 and S. I don't know what you're feeling like.
Yeah. I don't think. I don't think Hydra is better than Arcitys.
I'd actually put him right here in the A tier, right in between Arcitys and Kleenex. I think he's that high up. I think he might be. I think him and Kleenex is a debate.
Yeah, I would probably put him behind
You
Kleenex
think so? I'll put him
personally.
behind for now.
I
I'm not
mean,
like strongly feeling that he's ahead of Kleenex. I think they're a big debate though.
yeah. Um, I don't know if we really need to say anything else about Hydra. I mean, he kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't really talk a lot, but he lets the gameplay speak for itself.
And he's like
Um,
played half of a season and he's already we're putting him. I mean, we're putting him here that put him at about ninth. Like he's played half
mhm.
a season, we're putting him in the top 10. Like dude could very easily be in the S tier by the end of next year. All right. Next guy is another interesting one, huh?
Oh God, I feel like anywhere from. Oh man, how we got 8 in A tier right now. We have 8 in B tier. I feel like Illy's gotta be in the A tier.
You think A?
I uh,
I don't know that I can put him ahead of
uh,
Draza or Hook or Asim. Potential
this
wise, he
is
definitely has
tough.
A
This is
potential.
tough. Um, I would, yeah, I guess maybe the top of the B, the top third of the B tier. Then, if we're
Yeah.
gonna think
To
B,
me, I don't know. You might think this is a little bit of a hot take, but to me, he slots in like right here between Gunless and Asim because he has potential to
yeah,
be like an
yeah,
A tier player, but like I don't know, like if you look at other flexes, like Illy's probably gonna flex this year. Like I might take Gunless over him, but like the A tier flexes, who do we have up there that's a flex right now? Really, like nobody actually in our A tier is like a flex right now. I mean, Cammy's clearly better than him, obviously, but like if I'm taking a
yeah,
player on my team right now, I think I'm taking Hook, Draza, and Asim over him to build a team right now.
yeah. You're selling me. You're selling me. All right. Sounds good to me.
All right, next player is another debate one to me because like he's clearly an S tier caliber player, but like personally, I have him below Arcitys, so I think he's got to be at the top of A.
Yep. Yeah. Put him right there.
I think he goes right, actually like directly behind Arcitys right there.
Hmm.
And this isn't gonna be like a definitive order, but like we're kind of grouping them where roughly we have them. Next guy is my favorite player in the CDL, so there might be some bias here, but I feel pretty strongly he's an A. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I would put him maybe right in between Attach and Vance.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because I was thinking between Attach and Hydra or Attach and Bance. That's right where I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I'll go between Attach and Bance since that's the one you said, and I was in that
Yeah.
range.
Yeah. I'm excited about LA Thieves. I
Yeah,
think we kind of hashed that out in our reactions pod, but I think Kenny, has been and will continue to be a difference maker on the map.
he's arguably the most versatile player in the league. Can literally run every role from sub to flex to main AR. We've actually seen proof now in matches. I think he is a player that people have kind of forgot about in a way that like this dude is another S tier caliber talent. Like there's very few players that you can say have the ability to be an S tier SMG and also an S tier flex and maybe even an A to S tier like main AR. Like there are very few players that you can say can do that, and he's one of maybe the only one. Uh I think he's got to be an A just for that. And that puts us right now at currently what 3, 6, 9, 10 players in A. It's a lot of players in A there.
Uh-oh.
But this next guy is clearly an S. I don't know if you have an argument for it.
Yeah, I want you to put him after Cammy though.
See, I think that's a hot take to the community. I agree with you, but I think we're in the
Mm,
minority in that take.
I think people are gonna, go back and watch some VOD on Cold
Mm-hmm.
War and
I agree with you. You don't have to convince me.
even Modern Warfare if you can avoid puking.
Mm, yeah.
Cammy's been very, very consistent.
Even Black Ops 4, he made
I
that
know,
insane run to like top 4 at champs with a pickup squad.
yeah, I mean, I know Ultra didn't have the best, they didn't win a ton. They won their home series in Modern Warfare, but he was, low key, you know, emerging,
And with the
in the
sniper coming back, he was nasty with the sniper in Modern Warfare.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
I kind of didn't even think of the sniper until right now when you started talking about that gross game. But yeah, I don't want to think about it too much. But like, hey, Dashy's an S tier sniper. But I agree with you. I mean, Cellium. Once again, you're splitting hairs between Cellium and Cammy. These are two just absurd players. They're both fantastic, and both clearly S. So I think we don't have too much to debate on Cellium. It's just where does he go in S tier is really the
Yeah.
more debate for him. The next guy is an interesting one to me. Another guy with super high ceiling, but he lays a lot of duds on the map. Kind of is a little lost on where his role is. I believe he's going to play the SMG this year with Sib being the flex on his team. I think with the way our list is shaping out and how many players we have high, I think I want to put Mac in C tier.
Yeah, I would put him towards the top of C tier.
I'd be willing with what we have in there to go at the top as of right now.
Yeah. I mean, he I don't know, like you're saying, I don't know how the roles are gonna go. I liked him running an AR and, maybe picking up an SMG from time to time. I don't know if have we seen him run a full-time SMG in Modern Warfare? I don't know what he was doing. I
He
think
was
maybe
like, he was more of a flex. I feel like in Modern
yeah.
Warfare.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with him in C tier. Just because we have to fill out 12 guys in there, and we're halfway there.
And the next guy is a weird one because from what we've heard, he's an S tier talent. I am not going S tier with him. But we've also heard that some extreme attitude issues could be at play. I feel like if we went Gizmo and C, we almost want to go Sib and C, but then I look at
Mm.
every player behind them and I'm like literally not willing to put him ahead of any of them. So like I don't know. I feel like this might be a situation where Gizmo slides down to D and Sib goes with him, and that's almost where we end up potentially. But I don't know. I think C is the highest I'm willing to go because once again, with these new players, it's so tough to project them to be like up in B or above. Like once again, like all these guys could end up being B and above players next year, but it's so hard to be like, hey, you know what, Sib's an A tier or something. I don't know. Do you
Hmm.
want C or D? Are you in agreement with
I
that?
I would say low tier C.
Okay. We can throw him in there for
Um,
now. I have a feeling
yeah.
him and Gizmo might end up sliding into the last two
Hmm.
D
Hmm.
spots. But
Yeah.
next guy is another guy that we haven't really seen play. But personally, from the team he's going into, the sub duo he's going to have, he's maybe the amateur player I'm the highest on, like just personally, and that's nasty. Uh, I'm personally the highest on him of any of the players. Like if I was gonna throw one guy up above the D for the new players, I think he'd be the C tier player for me personally.
Let's throw him there.
Okay, because I don't know. I feel like he's going into a situation, and you and everyone know how I feel about Afro. Like one of the players I'm most excited to watch this year. So I think I feel like he's going into a very good situation. So I think C is fair for him. Next, we've got Major Maniac, who's maybe another guy in that CB range. I think he's definitely. Those are the two tiers he can go in. Do you have a strong opinion on him?
Uh, yeah, let's move Zinni down to C and put Major there for him.
Think you want to
Or
move Zinni down already? I mean, there's a lot of players that are coming up that are ahead of him. I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. I think Zinni maybe we were a little high on him. I was like, well, we'll probably shuffle the deck here and
I'm gonna be
um,
honest. I think we should maybe do this too. Accuracy down already. I see way too many
yeah,
players that are gonna go ahead of
yeah,
him.
yeah. All right, yeah. I feel comfortable with I think Major's a top 30 player in the league.
Yeah, he's a very good player. Another guy that can flex too, if he has to. Obviously, didn't show the greatest flexibility this past year, getting benched when he was the flex, but he can do it. This is an interesting debate. This next one for me. The next, actually, four are interesting debates for me. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
where do you think Neptune sits? I feel like the B tier suits him, but I'm kind of not fully against bottom A, and I'm also not fully against top C. I'm just really all over the place with Neptune.
Uh, Florida.
Yeah, gross
Let's
team in my
let's
opinion.
let's say top C.
Yeah, although wait, he's not Florida. He is New York, I guess.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
shoot.
don't feel bad. I was actually thinking Florida too. He's
Um.
actually on a team that I think is going to be good. Actually,
Yeah,
now that I
yeah,
think
yeah.
about it,
Oh damn. Okay. Let's go B. Bottom B.
I think he goes ahead of Vivid and Major though.
E- Yeah. Sounds
I
good to
think he's
me.
going to have a very good year with Crim and Clay, and a very
Yeah.
good sub duo in Hydra.
Oh
All
God.
right, this is a player I know kind of how I feel about Kenny. I think he's one of your favorite players.
Yeah.
So you might have a little bias here, kind of like I do for Kenny. Once again, another guy with S tier talent, but we haven't seen results for over 2 years now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Very true.
boy,
Uh.
he's a debate between A and B for me.
Yeah. I think. He has to be above Dashy. I think we should put him right between Clay and Dashy. Just because
Yeah,
he
yeah.
he knows how to play the main AR. I feel. I
Can we
mean,
just do it already? Can we slide Ashy to B, or you
yeah.
want to
So
keep him in A
what?
for a little bit longer?
Does so that means is that 12,
We have 3, 6, 9, 11 are now in A
11?
tier.
Uh, let's leave him there. We let's leave him there, and then we can shuffle big time when we start putting.
Can we do something to make it a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
more
yeah,
exciting when we get
yep.
there really quick? Because I think, I mean, Abezy's going in A, or I mean, not A,
Uh,
Jesus,
A
S.
for Abezy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
going in S, and
yep. Shotzi is going
Shotzi's
in
in S,
S. Yep.
right? Can we just do that? Because I think those are all, I mean, like, I don't
Yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah. Those are
I think Simp and
consensus.
Abezy are top two, but like these three, the last three, I think Cammy is definitely three, but like to me, Shotzi and Cellium can kind of flip whatever way you feel on the right day if you need a flex or a sub. But I want to just slide them up there because I feel like those are like definitely the guys. And
Hmm.
those were the five I had in mind as my clear S tiers. So I just want to throw them up there.
Hmm.
Uh, the next guy is Big Wake. And I think in the beginning of Cold War, people had him in their top 6 players potentially. Uh, and then as the year goes on, Florida struggles. He kind of drops down. Some people I've seen throwing him in C tier. I'm personally not that low on him. I feel like I want to put Big Wake in the B tier.
Yeah, B for Big Wake.
I'm gonna put him a little higher in there too. Like
All
he
right.
is one of those guys that I think I really think like he has like another top flex in the game potential. Like I
You
mean
think
I
he's better than
think
Pierce?
oh shoot I didn't even see Gunless down there. I don't know. Actually let me go like this. Let me put Gunless right there like that.
Sounds good.
I think Gunless is better than Illy too.
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Oh yeah.
See, how many players we got in A tier right now? Because I think this guy's A tier. That's coming up next.
Oh, 11. That would be our 12th in A.
Somebody's getting moved out of A. I
All
hope you
right.
know
All
that.
right. Yeah, because I think Scump and this next guy probably could be an A.
There's
Let's
another
move.
guy that could be an A2 coming up.
Oh, oh, I'm a standy stan. Okay, okay,
He's
okay.
for
Let's
sure
just
A
take.
at least.
All right, let's take it one at a time. So Bruce has got to go.
I think he's got to go towards the top of B though.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think Afro. Can I just go like this with Afro? Are you like hating that? I think he's way up there in A, like
I
up there.
I know you're very high on Afro. I'm gonna allow it to go like that.
And that could end up
Um,
being like the worst take in here. He could end up having like a flash in the pan end of last year and suck this year and be a C tier player.
yeah,
But
this
we got to
this
make
could
some hot takes.
yeah this could be an old takes exposed thing. But
Hmm.
all right, let's just keep it going.
All right. Pred is the next guy. Another guy that obviously he has that Hydra vibe around him from the way we hear things about
Yeah,
him, kind of like the mystery man from overseas, except not Europe this time. He's from I believe it's Australia, it
Australia.
could be New Zealand, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's
He's
Australia. Um
yeah.
like
Uh,
kind of the mystery man, like another guy that if we're to believe what we hear about him that he's a lot like Hydra, he's gonna end up being S tier or A tier, but I really want to put Gizmo down and
yeah.
replace him with
Yeah,
Pred.
do it.
Because I think Pred's another guy that for me, like the way we're doing the new players, I feel like we're both on the same page that we don't want to put him higher than C just because it makes the list all like weird when you want to put it. Then you put a guy like Major Maniac down and you put like Pred ahead of him feels wrong before we see anything from him. But like I feel like the C tier for the new players for us is the guys that we really think are going to step up and be like pretty good this year, almost in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the next guy is Priesta. He's another weird one because
Oh my
a guy that's
god,
been so high in the past, but like
I
had
love
a little bit of a
Priesta.
down year. Oh, I know another guy that when you talk about the definition of a flex, he is like right there and fits it perfectly. Like
Mm-hmm.
he can literally be a main SMG. I don't necessarily know that I'd want him on my main AR, but I think he could be a main SMG and also use an AR when he has to. Uh,
Yeah,
to me, like he is an A tier caliber player on his best years, but I don't think he's coming off one of his rough years. I think he's more BC for me now.
yeah. I think I would feel comfortable putting him right around that like Neptune Vivid area.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna put ahead of a Neptune though. That makes a weird little chunky list here, but is that 12 now? That's 3,
Yep.
6, 9, 12 in the B tier. Which we have 11 in the A tier, but I think this
And
next guy is A.
yeah, yeah. He has to be A.
I think I want to put him like right there. Let's knock Afro out of the top 10 so we don't look really bad. Oh no, that puts Afro at 12. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I think Scump's good there. He's a pretty clear A tier player to me.
Yeah. So that takes care of the A and the B, unless we do some moving.
We're gonna have to, I think. I don't know. Maybe not. Skies though. Because we're gonna have to because Skies is not C tier. I don't think he's S tier.
Oh god.
Right.
Okay, what do you want to do?
Oh, see, like looking
Mm,
at it, I'd take Skies over Major Maniac, Vivid,
mm-hmm.
Neptune, Priesta, Illy, Big Wig, Gunless. I'm taking over all those guys.
All right.
And then I think he's somewhere in the range from the Gunless Asim all the way up to the like Bance,
I
Kenny.
I would advocate for Big Wake to go to C.
You
I just
think?
I'm litigating hard that Big Wake like you know I yeah I think that we're still
Because
running we're still running some tests. I don't know if he has a terminal illness yet with like his what happened to Big Wake in Cold War.
you want to know where my brain's at right now?
Hmm.
Because I think we're gonna have to drop a player or two out of A with what's coming up potentially, or move somebody up, or oh man, I really think that Skies. I almost want to slide Bance down and replace him with Skies.
In A tier?
Yeah, I want to put Skies at the bottom of A. I don't know because
I
the more I'm looking at this, I don't know that I'm taking Bance over like Draza, Hook, Dashy. The more that I'm looking at it,
so Bance to B tier or
I think like here, like I think like Bance to like up here, like somewhere in here at the
okay.
top, and
All
then
right.
Skies to the bottom. Actually, Skies is ahead of Envoy for me. That's how I'm feeling. And that could change. We could move that at the end. That's how I'm feeling right now. Unless you want to keep Bance up there and then like debate it, like keep Bance up there for now.
Okay, so that's 13 in A then.
Yeah, and we can
Okay.
debate it and move it around, but like keep
Okay.
Bance there for now and then figure it out.
Yeah, okay.
Because we have 12 in B, and I am completely unwilling to put Slasher in C.
Okay, can we put Standy in S?
You think so?
I
I
mean,
mean, of the guys left,
unless
he's
you want to put
definitely.
all four Phase guys in S.
Yeah, that's I was like, do we go? I was like
I
trying to
just want
think
to be
of.
I want to be a little bit hot takey here and put
Yeah,
Standy as an S tier.
I was just trying to think if like, are we gonna like slide Arcitys up? But then we both said we agree Arcitys is better than Insight, so Insight can't go up. So then it was pretty much between like Standy and Arcitys, and yeah,
Then
it is a
are
little
we
more
get
hot takey to go because Arcitys is the safe pick. But I like the Standy pick because I mean, without him, I mean, his team wins an event this past year. Obviously,
uh-huh.
Arcitys won 4, but I mean, his team doesn't win an event without him.
Yeah. Let's finish up D tier real quick. Are we gonna move somebody from C to D? Sib or
Um, yeah, I don't think I'm not willing to go like Mac, Teach, Paul, Temp, Diamond. None of those guys I'm willing to go to D. I'm actually gonna go like this because I think it's pretty disrespectful to have methods and accuracy below the new guys.
yeah.
Dude,
I'd
the
be
thing is, these three, I think the three AMs we have here that are all coming in, I think are all gonna be so good that I feel like it's gonna be another old takes exposed having them in D. But
gonna I'd feel comfortable putting Diamond Con in D. The more I'm thinking about,
I'm not. Yeah,
I
I thought you were about
I
to
don't
break my
know.
heart and say 0, so I was like, please don't say it.
No,
But
no.
I'm willing to
Okay.
go like Diamond Con top,
Yeah,
top
okay,
on there.
let's
Also,
do
screw this
that.
Aqua's going there.
And then okay, so now Slasher and Zero have to get put on the board somewhere.
Yeah, we already have third. I think our S
We
is
have
established.
Yep.
C. How many do we have at C? We have 9, so 3 more players to find their way into C.
Yeah.
Dude, I know you're probably gonna say 0C. I want 0 and B so bad.
We didn't see him for an entire year. He cannot be in B.
Oh, I think he's gonna end up being a B or A tier player at the end of next
That's
year.
fine. We can this is unless you want to get hot takey and do it, and then we can drop like Major into C tier or
I want to drop
Vivid.
Major and Vivid into C. Like, because either way, we have to put 2 more players,
Yep.
including 0, if we're putting 0 in C.
All
So
right,
I
let's
think
do
we
that. Let's
drop
do that.
Vivid, Major.
And
Dude, I
then
want 0 like right there. I want him towards the top of C.
all right, and then Slasher and B.
Yeah, I mean, who's of the mains? I mean, Dash is going to be a main this year. Crim's going to be I want to do something here in the B tier. I want to. This is so hard to put him where I want him. I kind of want like. I want to like drop Crim to there. Almost. I think Slasher's a better main than Crim. I guess Crim's playing flex now though. I think I want Slasher towards the top of B because I think he's going to have a really good year. I think his team fits him, and he was a beast on LAN the few times we get to see him. I don't know. I feel like I want Slasher towards the top of B.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with our D tier filled out, our C tier filled out. We need what? We need 1 in our B tier, and we need to drop somebody from A to B.
Yeah, I'm still like my jaw is still on the floor from you having Skies in A tier.
You think?
I don't know. I just I'm still so sour about Florida just like crapping the bed,
I
time
just
after
don't
time.
like if we're talking main AR, like we have no main ARs in our S tier. I
Yeah,
think Insight and RCs are clearly better. And then after Insight and Arcitys, like
Clay, Octane.
Clay, I mean,
We actually have a lot
if
of A tier. We have a lot of mains in our top 18 players.
I
Like,
think like the Skies argument though, if you're talking like you're scared of Florida being bad, like I think LA Thieves is obviously going to be a lot better this year, but like I mean, Skies has won. If you're including like the home series, Skies has won what 3 events in the past 2 years, and Octane hasn't even sniffed a final, like
right,
even
right, right.
close. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But okay, so we
uh,
have to move we have to move one guy out of A into B, and then we'll be finito.
yeah, I mean, I feel like from our obviously RCDs down to like Clay, I think is safe.
You think maybe Envoy?
I was thinking that, but I feel like we're gonna get absolutely killed, and I feel like that might be. I don't know. I just think all these players that we have in here are A tier players,
Yeah,
and one of them has to get
I
dropped.
mean, Envoy's got a lot to prove.
He does.
I mean, Bance won. Skies, I mean, Modern Warfare, take it or leave it, he won.
Yeah.
I I don't know. I mean, unless you say Octane's not a top 18 player, and I mean Octane. I mean, we can, you know, I guess we have to go back to BO4 to see when he won, but he won.
I feel yeah, I don't know. Octane's like one of the I feel like few exceptions to the rule of this dude hasn't won in forever because like he really truly did have some bad team circumstances and everything. His
Yeah,
mentality wise, I'm a little concerned about the whole like it's online, so just completely chalk everything. I'm a little concerned about that mentality from him, but like I think he can stay in the A tier. I do think saying he's below top 18 is kind of weird. I don't know. I
right.
feel like in the
Who?
middle of the year, like Sky's like I can see where you're coming from. With Skies is definitely in the debate of going to be, but like I feel like if you were to look at Skies like in the last 2 years, if you were to look at like I feel like 75% of the time you would say he's a no doubt A player, and like a lot of times in Modern Warfare, people had him in their ass. I mean, was he not one of the guys that was up for the MVP vote in Modern Warfare?
Yeah, I feel like he was that that Florida team like was I R.I.P. Pharaoh, but Pharaoh enabled that team,
100%, yeah.
and it really made Skies like shine through.
He also had a
Um,
1.4, I think, or 1.35 in respawn in stage 5 of last year. Like he had the number one respawn KD in stage
yeah, but
5.
what did Florida end up doing?
I mean, I don't know that Havoc was necessarily doing a whole lot on the map.
Yeah,
There's a
right,
reason
and
his teammates down.
that's why Havoc is in the D tier.
Yeah, you can, yeah. I mean, you can make the
And
argument that like the
I
team didn't
mean,
do a lot, but like we
and
have his teammates in the bottom of B and the bottom of D tier, so like he didn't have a whole lot to work
yeah,
with.
and yeah. So okay, so who are you advocating for moving to B tier then?
Bancer Envoy.
Envoy.
All right, I am actually gonna go like, can I get him in the right spot there? I feel like Bruce is the top of B tier. I'm gonna keep him there, but I feel pretty good about that. I feel like Envoy might be a really hot take to have him down here.
Well, that's what I want I want the comments section to really dissect this. Tell us
Yeah.
if you guys think we're crazy. Am I crazy for wanting Big Wake on a milk carton? Like, where is Big Wake? Um, send the Amber Alerts out. Yeah. So I don't know what I don't know. That kind of takes care of it.
Yeah, yeah, I think it does. I really I feel pretty good about the list overall. I feel like our S tier, like I was worried when we went to 6 that it would create a big debate, but I feel like we're both kind of on the same page of like the whole our season insight. We kind of default to taking the 2 ARs out, which is not a fault of them, just a fault of their role, maybe like being a little less flashy, so it doesn't seem like they're making as many plays. I mean, they're both S tier caliber players. I think you can make an argument all the way down to like Hydra is like an actual real S tier if you're like not putting caps on it. But we have a couple hot takes in here. I feel like Afro being an A is kind of hot. I think even like Envoy Dashy being down in the B tier is kind of a hot take. But I feel pretty confident. I feel like our only debates are in like the skies to Dashy range where you want to put them, and then like kind of I don't know. I feel like Major Maniac you could debate is maybe a little low. I don't know. I feel pretty good overall though, don't you?
Yeah, I'm I'm really happy how this turned out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's not too many hot takes from a totally um neutral point of view. I mean, I mean, yeah, you probably have to put Arcitys in S tier, but I like the hot take of like putting Standy in there and
Yeah,
putting
Arcitys is definitely the safer pick. Like we know Arcitys is going to be a top 10 player next year. Standy has a lot less time, so he could maybe fall a little bit lower, but like I don't see Standy going much below like the top 18. Like I think he'll for sure still be an A tier.
Mhm.
But like he's definitely the hotter take over Arcitys because we've seen Arcitys. I mean, Arcitys 2-time world champ. Like it's not a question mark of if Arcitys is an S tier player. It's just how many spots are in your S tier. So does he fit in that? Like he's up there. It just also
Right.
feels weird to put 4 guys from the same team in the top 6 players. Like it definitely is possible that is true. It just looks weird to put 4 of the the 4 Faze members in the top 6. Like that just like I mean, if that was I don't know, it's just weird. Like they're gonna win every event if that's truly the case. But I mean, according to us, Dude Ultra is
What's
gonna
up,
be
sir?
fantastic again next year.
Gonna grab a hog.
Um but I think that's gonna do it for this one. We didn't really have anything else uh that we wanted to kind of add in the end of this. We had like an idea for a random segment of like end of the podcast doing something to break up kind of a transition from COD to something else to kind of end it out. We had like a segment, so let us know if you think this is a good idea. We were going to do like a sports take of the week, like a random thing we saw watching some football. We're both pretty big sports people. Like the one idea we had for this week was we're both kind of down bad. Kyle is a Lions fan. Obviously, the Lions are 0-3. I'm a Colts fan. The Colts are 0-3. We both have winless NFL teams, so we're maybe going to do something where we talk about like a quick sports take for the week because I've seen like when the Bucks. Obviously, I'm a big Bucks fan. When they were in the playoffs and stuff, some people were commenting like stuff about COD, and they were also saying like, "Hey, I watched the Bucks game. I thought this," and people were like just talking about sports a little bit in the comments. So it kind of gave me that idea. If that's something you guys made it to this video and you comment about if you think that's a good idea. I know you're a real one. But Kyle, you got anything to say before I kind of quick wrap this one up?
Let's go about it.
All right. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening if you're on one of the few audio platforms that the podcast is being distributed to now. But that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, or drop a follow on any of the new audio platforms. That's gonna do it for this one, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.